Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about Pandemic. Pandemic is a well-known cooperative board game, meaning you work together rather than compete. It's something that has worked well on the tabletop and something we've been dying to see on iOS. So let's take a look at the app and see how it functions and how it works on this new platform. Also, please bear with me, I'm trying a new video capture service this time, so some of the audio may have game audio, which I'd like to include in the future, so we'll see how that works and how it performs this time around. Pandemic tasks players with curing the world from 4 deadly diseases. They can do this either by themselves or with a team of up to 4 people. You can control all the players yourself, or any number of 2 to 4 yourself, or you can play with other people and pass the iPad around. There is no online play at this point. The way the game works is each player is dealt a hand of cards. These cards feature cities which are on the board as well as colors of diseases. The goal is to gather 5 of these cards of the same color and use those at a research center to cure a disease. So the way to win is to cure all 4 diseases. However, there are several ways to lose. You can lose by having all the disease cubes of a color on the board. That means if too much of one disease is present, then you will not be able to proceed. Also, if you see the glowing cities with 3 cubes, if those ever add a 4th cube, they will outbreak, which means they will spread disease cubes to the neighboring cities. Every time this happens, a counter goes up. If this happens 8 times, you also lose the game. You can also lose the game by running out of cards in the draw deck, and probably a couple other ways that I'm forgetting. There are many ways to lose, and just the one way to win: cure the diseases. However, players are not hopeless. They do have special abilities, each of them, which they can use. There are also event cards, which allow them to do certain ways to break the rules, such as prevent new cities from being infected, allow them to move players across the board, and other actions. You also have 4 actions you can take each turn. You can use them to treat diseases, which is to remove disease cubes. You can also move between cities, either one city at a time or using cards to move further. You can also help other players and take a few other actions, such as build research centers and other options. Each turn you will also draw 2 cards at the end of your turn. These cards can include benefits such as new city cards and new event cards. However, there are also epidemics hidden in the deck. These epidemics cause 1 city to be infected, causing 3 cubes to go there, and then from there, all the cities that have been drawn before will be shuffled and put back on top of the deck. This means that they can be drawn again and possibly outbreak or cause other problems for you and the other players. This experience transfers really well to iOS. As you can see here, you can move around the board and it looks very cool with kind of a parallax effect with the position of the cities and the actual map of the Earth below that. You have a lot of menus you need access to, things to remind you of certain information, and it's all really easy to grab here. You can easily see what the other players have card-wise, you can see what's in the discard pile to know what cities may be in danger soon, and it's all really efficient and really well laid out UI design-wise. There are no online systems at this time, either multiplayer or statistics or competition with other players, which I would love to see in the future. There are, however, basic options that you can edit, such as music, sound effects, abilities to view the full map, and other options. These definitely are great for players that are more experienced with the app and kind of want to customize things to their liking. There also is a tutorial which will guide you through the game, so if you're new to the game, don't worry. There definitely is a good tutorial here that will teach you much better than I did in the last 90 seconds or so. When I first heard that Pandemic would not feature online multiplayer and kind of limited to just the basic version of Pandemic, I was a little skeptical. However, now I see a very polished app, one that works well for solo play as well as pass and play. Much like Ghost Stories and Forbidden Island before it, Pandemic really shows that co-op play is great as a solo board game experience on iOS. While I was hoping they would explore the online options of co-op play, I really think that what they've done here works well as a single-player experience, and if that's what they were going for, they've definitely achieved it. It also works well for pass and play. I played with my wife this evening several times, and it really was fun to pass the iPad back and forth, and the app just has so many UI elements that are giving you information that you didn't even know you need until suddenly you're like, oh, that's exactly what I wanted to have, and I couldn't even articulate my need. And that is why I have to say Pandemic is one of the best iOS board game experiences I've had so far. Yes, it doesn't have online play and other features we desire, but what's there is excellent. I review tabletop board games for iOS, and rarely do I get to call things cinematic, but that really works here. Pandemic, honestly, is a very tense experience. If you play with headphones on, following the soundtrack, it changes as the game state changes. There's visual cues that change as you achieve things and as things go horribly wrong. And all of it really feels like more of a video game experience rather than a strictly tabletop game translated. I have to really praise the developers here. They've captured the essential elements that you love about Pandemic and heightened them to a new level that the platform has allowed them to do with video game elements and cinematic additions.